Hi everyone, my name is Nick Petrella. I'm a trigger point master trainer. Today we're going to go through a release for the foot. I have Chantel with me here today as my client. So first thing I'm going to get you to do, Chantel, is take your shoes off for me and grab a seat on the ground. Now what we're going to be looking for, the reason I'm getting her on the ground right away is to look at the actual zones of the foot that we are going to be rolling. Now there's two zones specifically, the center of the foot and then the medial side, or where the arch of the foot actually is. Now the reason we have two zones is because we want to try and unlock a lot of the tissue. There's a lot of bones in the foot that can get basically all jammed up and stuck together, and the fascia can get very sticky, and we're going to try and release that today. Now once we get into the actual rolling part of this, we're going to roll from the base of the metatarsal to the calcaneus, or where the heel is. And then our second zone, the medial side, we're going to roll the same distance, so the base of the metatarsals to the calcaneus. And again, we're also going to do 4 forward to back rolls, and then we're going to do 4 cross frictions, which is almost like a grinding or a corkscrew motion. So I'm going to get you to stand up. We'll get right into the actual rolling, and I'll give you some pieces of advice when you're actually doing this. So we're going to get our trigger point grid flat on the ground. I like to use the parts of the roller that resemble the fingers. So I'll get you to place whatever foot you're choosing with to roll with, to stick with that for the rest of the rolls, releases that we're going to do. Starting at the base of the metatarsals, you're going to roll forward to back, 4 times. And what I like to do is I like to actually apply a little bit of pressure with my hands so that I can actually get some compression on my plantar fascia. Now once you start your rolling, you're going to go very slow, approximately 1 inch per second, 4 times front to back, and then 4 of those corkscrew type motions. So whenever you're ready, you can start that. Now whenever you're rolling, I want you to make sure you're always breathing. You want that deep diaphragmatic breathing so that you can actually increase the blood flow to the tissue, increase hydration, basically unlock that fascia. And because we're on our feet a lot, or the very opposite, if you're a desk jockey and you spend a lot of time seated throughout the day, the foot tends to get very tight. And a lot of people, when they wake up in the morning, they notice that it's very tight. Rolling the plantar fascia is a good way to unlock the feet. Good? One other thing I wanted to point out that I didn't mention, Chantel's doing a great job of making sure her toes are relaxed. We don't ever want our toes to come up when we're doing this release, because that's going to basically create a tense plantar fascia or a taut plantar fascia. So now for the medial part of the foot, I'm going to get you to allow your knee to roll in slightly or pull in slightly. Good. And we're going to get that arch of the foot. Now the plantar fascia actually supports the arch, and I typically feel a little more sensitivity when I roll the inside of my foot, the medial part of my foot, but we want that discomfort. Discomfort when you're doing a release is very normal. So typically on a scale of 1 to 10, a 6 or a 7, sometimes even an 8 out of a 10 is normal. If you ever feel any sharp shooting pain or radiating pain up the leg, we would adjust the grid a little bit, simply because we would want to make sure we're not rolling over any nerves. So she did her 4 rolls front to back, now her 4 corkscrew cross frictions. I notice the cross friction a lot more than the actual rolling, because it almost feels like I'm separating the tissue, grinding the tissue apart a little bit, which is what we're trying to do. Good, and as any personal trainer, I can't actually count, I'm assuming that's 4. So what I'm going to get you to do now, Chantel, is just walk around a little bit, see if you notice any differences or if anything comes to mind.
So my right leg feels like it's lighter, and it feels like I'm able to move forward a little bit easier and more lengthening in the back.
Good, and that's hopefully what we would feel. Now for me, I've been using my grid so often, I don't really feel much of a release on my feet when I use the grid anymore. So that's why I use a lot of our other trigger point tools, specifically our footballer, which is a little bit of a harder, dense surface that I typically have to use in order to actually unlock or to release my plantar fascia. And the plantar fascia is important to release because it's basically relating to the rest of the body. So anything that happens with our feet is going to affect the knee, the hip, the spine, all the way up to the head. And often we find that even with the tension or that stickiness in our feet, it's creating stress through the body and could even lead to things like headaches. The foot is the foundation of all movement. So I always start by rolling out my feet and then I work my way up the body, because I believe that if the foot is moving improperly or is not moving properly, then that's going to affect everything else. Once again, my name is Nick Petrella. I'm a trigger point master trainer, and I look forward to meeting you someday.